So I'm going to list off 3 don'ts and 3 do's regarding muscle recovery. Hey everyone, it's Dr. Heather here, and what I want to talk to you guys about is actually muscle recovery and rest. The importance that we need to understand behind that factor, which is how do we go ahead and really see the results that we want to see thanks to all that hard work we've been putting in at the gym, through all those different types of programs, at-home workouts and so forth. But there are some things we want to talk about because a lot of times we don't know how to really fuel our body correctly or how important rest is to really seeing those results happen. Like always, guys, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do click that link that you do see there to subscribe today. And if you are a current subscriber, thank you always for watching. All right, so I'm going to list off 3 don'ts in terms of 3 things that you don't want to do in terms of muscle recovery. So the first thing is we want to focus on do not overtrain. Okay, but what does that mean? How do I know if I'm overtraining? Well, essentially, we want to make sure that we do at least allow 1 day of actual rest. And that doesn't mean necessarily becoming like a complete couch potato, but it's allowing for our body to rest from the current activity that you are doing. So if you're someone who's doing like Olympic lifts, CrossFit, bodybuilding, maybe you are going into the gym and you're trying to lose weight, maybe we go ahead and we just give ourselves that day of rest where maybe we're just going outside for a nice hike, maybe a nice little bike ride, taking in some walking, gardening. We're keeping our body kind of active a little bit, but we're not putting the stress and strain that we normally would do in regards to the normal activity we're embarking upon. So when we're looking at recovery, the recovery could be a little bit more active, but we're tailoring it down a little bit so we don't overtrain our body. So those micro tears that we're creating, we're not putting more damage or harm into our system. Now, the next thing is we want to make sure, or I should say the don't that we want to make sure that we're not putting into that equation is we want to look at the diet, because the diet is actually really crucial here. We want to make sure that we are not including fast foods, things that are highly hydrogenated oils. We want to make sure that those factors, we're not consuming a lot of sugar, like I said, the fast food. We want to make sure those things are not being ingested because that's not going to help us build the type of muscle that we want. So again, the reason why we don't want the fast foods and the sugar is because our body's just going to consume a lot of inflammation. That's not going to help us in building that muscle. The third don't that we want to make sure that we don't do is isolated movements. We want to really look at what's called compound movements, and we're going to get to that in a second. So like I said, the 3 don'ts that we want to avoid when we're looking at muscle recovery is honestly overtraining the body, then looking at kind of what we're putting into our system, the sugars, the fast food, because it's going to create that inflammation, and then also to the types of movement that we're doing at the gym or at home. We want to now not do isolated movement patterns. Now when it comes to the do's, what we do want to look at is obviously making sure that we're getting that rest in. That's going to be key. And then secondly, we also want to make sure that we're getting in the right amount of food, and we're also looking at getting in some good omegas. You're looking at flaxseed, chia seeds. You could also look at getting in some nice whey protein, collagen as well. So if we go ahead and we take those in essentially right after our workout within that 30-minute window, that's going to help us really build that muscle. The rest, the sleep, is actually where we're going to build the most muscle. So that's another thing that we want to make sure that we're doing. We really want to make sure that our body is getting that rest, getting that recovery period. So that's why it becomes really crucial to take that 1 day, maybe even sometimes 2 days a week, especially if you're brand new to training. You want to allow for that recovery to happen. And then the next thing is you want to really look at compound movements. So what is a compound movement? Essentially, that's doing, a couple of different movement patterns together. So maybe it's looking at ball slams, it's looking at pull-ups, maybe it's looking at going ahead and doing, squat to press, maybe it's lunges with a bicep curl. So it's starting to now get your body moving, not just, with 2 muscle groups working together, but you're also moving your body through multiple planes of motion. So like I said, here are the 3 don'ts and here are the 3 do's that you want to go ahead and look at when you're trying to, see that muscle recovery and see the change in your body that you're really looking at seeing happen, as you're putting in all that hard work, whether it's at the gym or it's at home. If you have any questions about anything, if you're curious to know more about your own personal muscle recovery, drop some comments down below. Happy to kind of talk to you about that a little bit further. And if you haven't gone ahead and subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do. And if you found this video of help, please do give it a like. All right, everyone, this is Dr. Heather, and we're simply just talking about the do's and don'ts when it comes to muscle recovery.